I'm going to begin. Stephen, I wanted to say before asking my first question how incredible I think this movie is. It made my heart sing. It's pure, beautiful cinema. So thank you. And
thank you.
The reason I wanted to say that before my first question is so my first question doesn't come across as accusatory. Because I wanted to ask why. Why did you decide to retell West Side Story? And more importantly, why did you decide to tell it now?
Well, West Side Story has stood the test of time as it's been performed all over the world for 64 years. It's not like when you make a movie and the movie has a place in time and a place in history, but then you can only see it again if you order the movie. Whereas West Side Story is as loose as the Jerome Robbins choreography and as muscular too. And it's seen everywhere on stage and theater. That gave me the courage not to feel like I was claim jumping on Robert Wise's inimitably great classic along with Jerome Robbins, but that I was going to bring the original Broadway stage production through our sort of lens to an entirely new generation of audience that sadly has not even, many of them have not even heard of West Side Story, and this will be their first time experiencing this story.
I loved how you didn't subtitle some of the Spanish conversations. And despite not speaking Spanish, I always seemed to know what was being said, that kind of universal strength of body language. I wanted to know what the creative decision was behind that, Stephen. And Ariana, how nice it is to be able to speak Spanish in a mainstream Hollywood film, something that wouldn't have had to happen decades ago. And in the case of West Side Story, literally didn't happen decades ago.
Mm-hmm. You can take that first.
No, it's a beautiful thing. You know, I myself, I'm not fluent in Spanish, but it was so important to all of us to get this right and to celebrate the language. You know, I love the choice to not subtitle because it doesn't other the language.
Yes,
it validates the language. It's beautiful, and again, I love being a part of this film because ultimately it is a celebration of the Puerto Rican community and its culture, and you really get that sense, and that choice is a reflection of that.
And the choice was the original choice that Tony and I made when Tony was writing the script, that Tony wanted a lot of Spanish spoken, and you would never know when it was going to go from English to Spanish, which is very natural, and that I did not want to subtitle the Spanish because I felt that you'd be doubling down on the English. English would become the dominant language, and in a way there would be no real equality, and basically Spanish is a second language in this country, and it was out of respect for the language and respect for the Puerto Rican culture that I decided not to, and all the Latinx cultures, that I decided not to subtitle any of the Spanish.
I'm a huge fan of musicals, and I think West Side Story might have the strongest songs and lyrics of any musical ever, which brings me, of course, Stephen Sondheim. Stephen, how remarkable was that man's talent? I think he was in his 20s when he wrote some of these songs. And secondly, was he involved at all in this retelling? And if so, did he have any specific requests for things to change or things to preserve from the original?
Well, he was 24 when he was hired by Leonard Bernstein at the urging of Arthur Lawrence to write the lyrics for West Side Story. And he was very involved in our production. He saw 5-6 drafts of the script, made comments, and gave us notes that were wonderfully constructive notes, creative notes. He was really encouraging us to make a new West Side Story for an entirely new generation, to go deep with the characters. Don't worry about anything that is left over from the original stage show. Just get on this road less traveled, well-traveled, but make it your road less traveled and figure out a new way of telling this same story, which is the story of Romeo and Juliet, obviously. And then, of course, I showed him the film in February. He got to see it, and I wish he could speak for himself because I hate actually saying what he thought of the film, but he truly, truly adored it and was very encouraging and couldn't wait for the opening and couldn't wait to be there on Monday, and he passed 3 days before the opening, which was a shock and continues to be a shock for all of us still because he's so much a part of this production. We did 3 weeks with him. He was there every day when the cast laid down their vocal tracks in New York.
That was
he was there
definitely
every single day. That was an experience, right?
It was an experience. You don't forget that.
Right.
It's a special thing.
And just very finally, Ariana, I was going to ask, and of course, when playing the iconic role of Anita and sharing scenes with the iconic actress that is Rita Moreno, who played that very role, was it quite surreal to be in a scene in West Side Story playing a certain character opposite the first actress who made that role famous? And did she give you any advice or anything at all?
Well, of course it's surreal. You know, it's downright terrifying, to be honest. But I will say I didn't focus on that, though. You know, I was very careful to make sure that when I was looking at her during the scene that we shared, that I saw Valentina, her character. Because if I had played it as if I was playing a scene with Rita Moreno, I think I might have lost my nerve a little bit. Just out of,
it would have been very strange.
Yeah, very strange, very meta.
Anita playing opposite Anita.
Yeah, odd, you know. And
yeah.
she has since said that it was challenging for her too. So it's kind of heartening to know that it was challenging for both of us. But you know, the best advice she gave me was to lean into everything that makes me unique as an actor, and that's what I try to do.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time today, guys. And best luck with the release of the film. It's absolutely wonderful. Can't wait to see it again.
Thank you.
Great. We love hearing that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey!